Hola and welcome. Thank you for joining me for the next few minutes as we go through some slides to explore with you some of the expectations for your spring 2021 study abroad semester. I'm Eero Yasurun. I'm the director at the CIEE Madrid program, and let's start. In this brief lecture, I will be sharing with you a little bit about CIEE Madrid, the Spanish capital where you are heading to, and how this has been impacted by the current health pandemic. We currently have students and participants on site this fall semester, which has been a great learning experience because the city, of course, is a traditional European city, but also quite modern. As you can tell from the photo, we have a thriving gay and lesbian neighborhood, but we also have a beautiful architecture. So let's go to the next slide and I'll give you a quick. And just to tell you a little bit about who I am, because even though I am not Spanish, nor am I from the United States, I did have the opportunity to come here as a study abroad student myself, first for a semester, which then got extended into a whole year. And that's because I am originally from a small island in the Caribbean. And as you can tell from a name, it's maybe not a name you've maybe heard before, and that's because it's a Sephardic last name. And that was another reason for me to come to Madrid, to explore my family roots and to also improve my Spanish language. And hopefully when you get here, my role really is to get you settled into the city ASAP, to get you into a routine, because the quicker you get to feel comfortable here, the easier it will be for you to explore the city. Now, the nice surprise, I think, is that Madrid, even though it's a big city, it feels more like a village. It has over 21 different districts. It has a great transportation system, but I walk a lot, and it's a very walkable city. In fact, I have a dog, as you can tell from the photo. His name is Duke, and I live near one of the many parks, and I often take him to go out there. So maybe you'll even get to meet him when you get here. So for those of you who are coming to Spain for the first time or even to Europe, you will notice right away that Madrid is located in the center of the country. In fact, the city is about 1,000 feet or so above sea level, and this creates a uniquely dry climate. In fact, the winters here are quite mild. It doesn't rain often. We're very near to a national park just north of Madrid with a high mountain range. So if you're into hiking, there's some really great opportunities to take a commuter train about a half hour north of Madrid. Some students are more into going to the beach. That's also an opportunity if you're into some weekend travel. The nearest place to go to would be Valencia, which is about a 2 hour high-speed train ride, or going down to Malaga in the south. Now, within Madrid, capital city, there's over 3 million residents. And one of the benefits of living here is that there's a really great, well-connected public transportation system. So taking the trains, the metro, or the buses, they go very frequently. They are clean and efficient, as I mentioned, and it will be easy for you when you come here because you will be living in the city center area. And this means that you can, in most cases, even walk to the classes, or you're probably near each other in the same neighborhoods. But most students will also get the public transportation card for 20 euros a month, and it's unlimited use to get around the city. So be prepared to bring walkable shoes to take the metro. Quite often, in fact, if you come to class, most students will like to use the metro because it might be quicker. Um, and let's go to the next slide. So as I mentioned, we already have students and participants this fall semester who are here adapting very quickly to city life. And of course, we are currently still in a pandemic. One of the basic rules that may or may not be the same where you are from, but here in Madrid, it is actually required to wear a face covering in public. This is required, and if you do not do this, the police can stop you, and then they can actually fine you up to 100 euros for not wearing a mask. Masks are easily available everywhere in the supermarket, at pharmacies. You can buy them, for example, in boxes of 10 for about 3 euros. Um, but again, this is something that you need to keep in mind. Of course, social distancing here is the same, where you have to keep 6 feet between people. And of course, when you move around, bring a hand gel, an alcoholic hand gel, so you can keep washing your hands. Those are the basic rules that you have to keep in mind while you are here in Madrid. So in Madrid, we still have a very active cultural life. You can go to music concerts, you can go to the theater, the cinema is open, gyms are open. Of course, always keeping a certain limitation as to how many people can be inside. So in the case of gyms, for example, almost all of them now have an online platform so that you sign in and you check to see the time that you want to go and see if there's a space available to go, because there's certain limitations. You have to wear a face mask when you go inside the gym, but you can take it off when you are, for example, on the running machine, or if you are in a spinning class, or if you're actually using heavy weights. But other than that, you will have to wear a face mask, and they also provide cleaning materials so that once you're done using the equipment, you can clean that. When you come to Madrid, and I should say in all of Spain, one of the things that you will notice is that it's known for a street culture, meaning that people are always outdoors. In fact, Spaniards in general like to meet their friends and meet their family outside, taking a coffee or going to the park. And so one of the limitations now is that when you do go an outdoor terrace, the maximum number of people that can sit together is 6. And while you're consuming your coffee, your drink, or your food, you of course are allowed to take off your mask. And the same is the case if you are running in the park. Except for me, when I walk my dog and I'm just walking, well, then I still have to wear a face mask. And in fact, you can see in some of these pictures that people walking around with face masks outdoors, it is a requirement. If you don't like wearing a medical face mask, a lot of shops now are also selling some really cool designer style face masks, and that's becoming quite a trend, I have to say. In addition to an active cultural life and in addition to an active outdoor life, one of the things that happened during the lockdown a few months ago is that people started talking to each other in their neighborhoods, like neighbors started talking to one another. So there's also this renewed community, sense of community in Madrid, where more people are starting to volunteer or getting involved in social justice charities. So if this is something that you are interested in, please do let me know, and we see how we can connect you. So one of the things I know from my own personal experience doing study abroad is, of course, when you go to a new place, is that you want to make new friends, you want to make social connections, create your own community. And one of the benefits of being in Madrid is that there are many communities. And so if you, for any reason, would like to get connected, whether it be for religious reasons with a certain church or synagogue or anything like that to that effect, please let us know. Of course, there might be issues related to your identity regarding race, sexual orientation, um, any of those things too. There are many on-site organizations, community groups, support networks. There are cultural events, there are lectures. There are many ways for you to get connected to the different communities here in Madrid. And whether that be for personal reasons or whether that's just for an academic research project, we are here to help you with that. I've put a picture here of one of my favorite books, Kinky Gazpacho, which is really about a very reflective experience from an African American woman's point of view who studied abroad here in Spain. And I can recommend it at some point if you read that. It's a really nice perspective on coming to Spain. So I just want to wrap up now with just a few other items that will hopefully get you all set up for your semester in Madrid. And basically, that is that you will find that locals are quite open and eager to meet you. This was my experience as a study abroad student, that Spaniards in general, they like to meet up in groups. They are very outgoing. They're very extroverted in that sense. And for someone like me, who's really introvert, it was a great way for me to get out of my shell, to practice my language, to make grammar mistakes and to have fun along the way. It really helps you to get to to get to know the city as well. The good thing too is that the metro is working. There's no problems using public transportation. One of the benefits too is that our number one crime problem, which is pickpocketing, has seriously decreased. I think that's partly to do with social distancing. It's that's it. You don't hear much of this particular problem. And in fact, Madrid is the one of the lowest crime cities in all of Europe. You don't hear any gun crime stories at all. That's very, very unheard of. And of course, being in a pandemic, the health services now are much better prepared. Now that we also know that there's a vaccine on the way, there isn't that sense of panic that we had in the beginning when there was a lockdown. Right now, people are used to this routine of maintaining certain restrictions when you go out in public. And I think the best part is that the language exchange groups are still meeting up. So again, within the maximum of six by a table. But again, these are great ways for you to get to meet madrileños, as we call them. Your classes will be held in person at the CIE Global Institute, which is located near Puerta del Sol. The nearest metro stops are Sol and Sevilla. And one of the benefits of coming to the classrooms is that we will also hold site visits. So depending on the class that you take, you might either be doing a guided walking tour with your teacher, or you might go visit an organization, or there might be a guest lecture at a certain venue. And all the things that really make this as encompassing as possible. And if for some reason we may not be able to hold classes in person, obviously we can do those online. And hopefully this will be a rewarding experience, because the way things are looking now is that all the in-person activities will continue as planned. So on a final note, I can share with you that I know I've been working with CIE in Madrid for over 15 years. And one of the benefits of Madrid is that there are many medical services where the staff speak English. So if you need to go to an emergency room, if you need to go to a private clinic, if you need mental health support, if you want to talk to a psychologist, many of them speak English, and we have the resources here to direct you to that if needed. We also have a 24/7 emergency phone on site to help you. And this is in connection with our health and safety department in the US, who keeps monitoring the situation in many places, including Madrid. And one of my roles is also to connect with the US Embassy on a regular basis. I talk to different hospitals and government agencies to really get the latest information that we think it will be relevant to share with you if needed. But most students have a wonderful experience, and they really don't need to rely on this. But considering that we are in a pandemic, we want you to feel reassured and for you to know that we are here to support you as best as we can. So thank you for listening to this presentation. I hope it was useful. And as we say here in Spain, hasta pronto.